Hey guys, want to welcome you back to Covenant Podcast. We have two very special guests in here today that I actually am just meeting today. But I've heard some stuff about the ministry that you guys are involved in, and just wanted to have you in and let you tell us a little bit about what it is you're doing to impact our community and beyond, and what the Lord's up to. So I will let you introduce yourselves and then tell a little bit about your ministry, and then I'll dive in with questions. Yeah, you got to go first. She's already pointing at you. So
I know.
Anyway, yeah, you're first. All right.
Alrighty. So just so you know, we met you indirectly because we were here for Chloe's baptism and all that. Like she's one of ours. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We love Chloe.
Yeah, we do too. Yeah. But I'm Lynn Hoey. Moved down here about 4.5 years ago from Cleveland, Ohio. And we met through church, our church at Denver. They asked us if we wanted to be part of just like a local missions group. And we were like, sure, no problem. And we got together in a group, and our pastor went around the room and said, what is it that interests you? And everybody had their hearts in different places. And Jen and I agreed that the homeless needed some attention in the Lincoln County area. Yeah. So we were put together, and that was a little over 2 years ago. So we started out volunteering through Hesed House, just walking around, meeting people, seeing what they do. And John Hall, the director at the time, took us out into the field and into the tents and under the bridges. Mm-hmm. And that's where Jen and I were like, wow, this is really awesome. Yep. Like these are the people we want to be talking to. Right. So, we are pretty much doing the street outreach in Lincoln County. Yeah. We, Soul to Soul Outreach blossomed about a year ago when we decided we just kept getting stuck under the thumbs of everybody else that we were working with. Mm-hmm. And we just saw it as a big picture thing. And we were like, you know what, we want to be able to do this on a bigger platform under our own feelings and guidance and you know, whatever
where the Lord was leading you.
Yeah, exactly. Where God was taking us. We just felt like it needed to be bigger. And so we decided, you know, we can do this ourselves. So we opened up Soul to Soul Outreach. Yeah. And like I said, doors just keep flying open. He just keeps taking us here, there. We're meeting all these different people and finding all these ways to really
That's good.
To connect.
Yeah. So did y'all do like a nonprofit or just y'all just?
We're nonprofit.
Yeah.
We are a 501c3
as of July last year.
As of February, actually.
501c3?
Well, Articles of Incorporation happened in February.
That's good.
All the other legalities unfolded over the
so you're your own boss outside of
Yeah.
Jesus and the Holy Spirit.
Yes, number one right there. Yeah,
we do have a board.
We are guided.
So basically, y'all, and we know this in Lincoln. If you live here, you know. I remember before the homeless shelter was even in Lincoln, and they were having conversations about building it, and really a couple of churches, us included, not the only one by any means, came together and would open up our church for a night or two a week, especially in the winter months when it was freezing outside, and people just came and bunked up in the gym, and out of that was birthed Hesed House.
Yes,
and then we really got to see that it was way bigger than the ones that were just staying at the house. It was a whole community of people who, with children and otherwise, that were, we couldn't fit everybody in that building. Still can't, nobody can. But so you guys go out where they are, basically. Is that what you're saying? And,
we try to when we can find them.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's a element of them not wanting to be found to some degree, I think. So, is that true? Well, you had that look on your face. So,
Very well. I want to give Jen an opportunity to throw in as well.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to make her talk too. So.
There is an element because when, people have these stereotypes about the homeless.
That's right. Yeah.
And when we go out and we're talking with everyone and things, and people see us and they see it where we're going, and our people are getting kicked off properties and things, which we understand personal property. Right. We understand that. So now they've gotten where they love us. They trust us. Yeah. Absolutely. However, when other people see where we're going, they pick up on that, and then So they try not to tell us too much
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the question that we used to be able to ask is, you can't say where do you live. You have to say where are you staying,
Right.
and we get very indirect answers now, or they whisper, or they'll
Mhm.
say, "I'll tell you later," or
Yeah.
"I'll text you," or like because
So
they just don't want
are
to
they
be
saying
heard.
that because they're afraid that somebody that don't want them in the community are going to find out where they
Yes.
are and come and run them off or something?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have them. We have the ones that are loud and messy, and just don't quite seem to understand that you got to fly under the radar.
Yeah.
And then we have the ones that try to be really quiet and inconspicuous and
Right.
Respectful.
respectful of the But the fact is, most people, once they discover they're on their property, whether they are a business or a property owner or what have you, they don't want them there, and so they get run off. And so, where we used to have literal campgrounds where we could go visit 6-8 people at a time,
Mhm.
they're now so buried in different places. Like
Right.
we either don't know, or we've learned to look at the land differently,
Yeah.
and we can kind of track them down.
Yeah.
But it's become more challenging even for us because we have to go deeper.
Mhm.
We have to go deeper into the woods. We have to take people
Yeah.
with us for safety and
Right.
that kind of thing. So it's become more challenging for them, more challenging for us to help.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's that stereotype thing you were talking about. My first experience with anything to do with homeless people, and I'm sure even when I was growing up in Lincolnton, there were probably some who were homeless. You just didn't
Mhm.
know that.
Mhm.
And but my first experience, I remember years ago, I was in youth ministry, and we went to Savannah, Georgia. I don't know if you guys have ever visited their homeless population in Savannah. It's one of the
Mhm.
largest homeless populations on the East Coast, and they had literally bought a old Days Inn and turned it into
Mhm.
like a homeless shelter. And is that your plan? Oh no,
We're working on it.
Okay, all right.
Working.
So y'all can send donations to. We'll tell you who in a minute.
Yes, we
yeah,
can.
but-
We have a QR code. We can
Yeah.
share that later.
Well, Ryan can handle the QR code because I don't even know how to say it undoubtedly. But yeah, so my first experience was we took our youth group, probably about 40 or 50 kids, and we worked in a homeless shelter for a week, and it was like just astounding to me. But I also
Eye-opening.
sat in on all those videos, where they tell you how people end up homeless,
Mhm.
and that became something that was a game changer for me.
Yes.
That and I don't know what the number is now, but at that time, years ago, that number was most Americans. It's like 60% of Americans are 3 weeks away from homelessness or something.
Yeah,
like,
one paycheck away.
yeah, one paycheck
Mhm.
away from
Mhm.
homelessness, and
Mhm.
and if you don't have family close by that can take you in, and quite often they don't either.
Mhm.
Then what next? Your car,
That's
if you have one.
Yeah, that's one thing that we're learning, that we have learned about the community, is they're not. A lot of them are homeless because there was no security net underneath them because of family situations or things like that. There's nobody.
Mhm.
And so when you come on hard times, when something medical happens and you lose everything,
Right.
there's nowhere to go.
Mhm. That's right.
Or people coming out of domestic violence situations
right.
and there's no place to go. We've seen that kind of thing too. So
And there may be some things they have in common, but there's no one specific
Mhm.
identifier to
Correct.
somebody who ends up homeless. Like I met a guy when I was in Savannah that was an executive for IBM. He had a drinking issue
Mhm.
that cost him a situation domestically with his family. Not abuse or anything like that, but just marital issues.
Mhm.
Ended up being
Mhm.
removed from his house. Ended up in a car. Ended up in
Mhm.
Savannah. I mean, a guy that was college educated,
Mhm.
very successful businessman that just fell on hard times and ended up in Savannah. And so there's not one thing you can say that caused it for
Mm-mm.
these
Right.
people. You can't put them all under a blanket.
You really can't.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for saying that,
Yes.
and we hope that you'll say that over and over again loudly to
you
anyone
can't
who
put
will
them all under a
listen.
blanket.
No, you can't, and that's unfortunately that is what we come up against a lot. And I think it's just lack of experience, ignorance, lack of education in the community. I grew up outside a large city, Chicago, and it was just it's what you saw when you went downtown.
Right.
There's just people, and unless you are groomed on how to handle it, how to help in any way, whether it's a smile or getting involved, there's
Right.
there's so many different levels. I of the belief that every single person can do something. It can just be kindness. It can just be, just really extending a smile,
That's right.
saying hello, asking them their name. It's some of it can be really simple. And then there's the extensive, like, let's buy a days in and
Yeah, I don't know who thought of that. I don't even really know how they accomplished that, but maybe we can find out.
You know what? Honestly, we were in a meeting this morning, and we're currently working with like United Way, Helping Hands, Hesed House. Hopefully soon, we're working with ICGH, Integrated Care of Greater Hickory. We're hoping to get in with the probation system. Like we're trying to integrate ourselves with all the different resources in the community to figure out how to kind of get a handle on it.
Right.
Neither one of us believe that homelessness will ever be completely extinct.
Right.
There's because of all the circumstances, like you named.
Life.
Because of life. However, giving them different avenues to take is so important. And Hesed House is a great place to land.
Right.
And it's safe for overnight.
Yeah.
It's gives you some source of accountability. It gives you a place to be safe while you're saving money. So there's a lot of great things about it, but it doesn't fill this hole. There's a 12-hour span during the day. They have to leave in the morning, 7:30 to 5:30.
Yeah.
There's no place for them to go. So if someone is disabled in between jobs, a lot of them, the legal system, believe it or not, keeps them down. It's like, well, you need to be at this class at 2 and you need to report to your probation officer by 4.
And get a
how
job,
do they
by the way.
work?
Yeah.
Like we're amazed at like, how are you supposed to work around these schedules? So there's a lot that they're up against. And one of the biggest deficits that Jen and I noticed immediately was this daytime issue.
Right.
So you have the people that don't have anywhere to go, people who are trying to behave, run into their old circles, and that promotes, bad behavior. Or you've got local shop owners or whatever who are frustrated because they're hanging around, even not even doing anything, but sometimes just the loitering,
That's right.
kind of thing. So there's only so many places they can go to stay warm, to stay out of trouble, to, that kind of thing. So, that is the challenge that we really face. And that was part of another reason that Soul to Soul outreach became what it is, because we're like, how do we fix this issue? We were known as the 2 girls that walk around handing out water 2 years ago. Now we consider ourselves resource connectors. That's what we call ourselves, advocacy and resource connecting, because that's what it takes. Is they don't know. They know a lot of resources. Like they're all aware of Department of Social Services.
Soup
they're aware
Kitchen,
of the Soup Kitchen, Christian Ministries, but they don't know how to go about filling out applications for certain things, whether it's rehab or hardships for medical bills, things like that. Sometimes they struggle with computer technology just to fill out a job application. And most of them don't just take the, back in the day when you and I were getting a job, you go in, you sit down, you have an interview, you fill out a paper app. No, they want everything online.
So they don't do that anymore, right?
Not too many. So that's a challenge as well. And then there's transportation, and then there's medical, and then there's legal, and people complain. There's a false belief out there that Hesed House and people like us go out and find them in other counties and bring them here. Totally not true. Yeah. We got enough to deal with.
Sure.
But
you do run into that. I know when we were starting, it's somewhat silent minority, but it's sometimes not so silent that we're terrified that if we built a homeless shelter in Lincolnton, that
it would bring more.
Will attract homeless people. And while there may be an element of truth to that, the other side of that is, well, if you attract them, at least you're attracting them for them to get some help.
That's what you'd hope. And they do gravitate here. But the main reason is because this is where the hub of the county is. And they're expected to be at probation. They're expected to show up at court dates. They're expected to show up to give statements to police. They're within walking distance. They have to plant themselves where they can go. So they're all, a lot of them are just trying to stay legal. And so they can't be out in Denver. They can't be out in Iron Station in different places. They've got to be where they're expected to be.
They'd rather be homeless in a tent than in jail. So,
exactly. Well, most of them, yes.
I would be too, by the way. For the record, I'd rather be in a tent than jail. But so I do appreciate what you guys are doing. So when you're out and about, what kind of things do y'all do on a day-to-day basis? You know, you used to be the water people. Now I know you said resources stuff, but how do you talk them into going somewhere? And
Well, that's the thing. We don't talk them into
Okay.
anything.
Yeah, tell
We're friends with them. They trust us. We have conversations. We
Mhm.
let them know, hey, we're here. When you are ready, you can't force anyone.
right,
When you are ready, let us
Mhm.
know, because we can do this and we can take you
Right.
here. We can do that. We will be there to walk with you
Yeah.
through it. And when they do come to us and say, I'm ready, we're like, okay, let's do this. And we sit down with them and we say, okay, this is what needs to happen to get to your goals. They make
Right.
up their
Yeah.
goals, what they want to do.
Right.
And these are the things that that need to happen, whether it's getting your driver's license back, getting your ID, getting your social
Job.
security card.
Yeah.
Well, you need
Yeah.
to have your social security card to get
Before
a
you get
job.
that, that's right.
You know, so I mean, all those processes to
Mhm.
get that, and then other things, like we have a gentleman who is preparing to go to truck driving school. You know, so what he needed to get
Mhm.
there, even if it's just the phone call and saying you can do this, it's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
And we have people who have anxiety and stress issues, and we speak with them and encourage them through those anxiety attacks and
Mhm.
things, so that they can go on to the next level.
Right.
We help with uh, driver's tests, you
Yeah.
know, and insurance, and we help with all sorts of different things.
We go to court with people.
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
we
thank
will
you.
we will go to court with people and
Yes.
talk to the DA, talk to
Mhm.
if anybody that'll listen to us.
Mhm.
I was just in a public defender's office this morning because we have somebody who's going to court in April, and it should be his last. Like he's getting off probation.
Right.
And I just wanted to be sure that all the I's were dotted and the T's
Yeah.
were crossed,
Mhm.
and there
Yeah,
was
that's
not
good.
going to be any surprises because he's very, very
Mhm.
anxious.
Yeah.
He's been on probation for
Mhm.
3 years, has done all the things.
Right.
And when we met him, he lived under a bridge.
Yeah.
And so he's taken the steps necessary.
Mhm.
And so this was just I went in and she's like, who are you? I'm like, let me tell you. So, you know, and now she knows, you know, 'cause
Yeah.
I'm like, we're here because he's going to come in and not talk.
Yeah.
And he's not going to tell you that he's done this for 66 days and been there for a year. And he's like, so
Mhm.
here you go. I'm giving it all to you.
Yeah.
And he's over a year clean.
Yes, over a year
Praise the
clean,
Lord.
you know,
Yes, he
and so
is.
to be able to, to be
Yeah.
able to tell her all that and know that
Mhm.
she has the authority as an attorney to
Yeah.
tell the judge that.
Yeah.
The same judge that looked me in the face a year ago and said, thank you for what you do.
Yeah.
So
That's good stuff.
so advocacy and resource connection are
Yes.
like our number one things. And then spiritual guidance is also listed on our business cards because sometimes, Mike, it's just praying with somebody. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Affirming them,
Yes.
giving them a little hope.
Absolutely.
the guy that Jen mentioned that will be going to truck driving school soon, literally a year and a half ago, would zip up his tent if he heard our voices.
Yeah.
He did.
So like it's
Yeah.
just building these relationships. And, you know, we found out like 6 months after we met him, he was telling other people he thought we were there to take his dog,
Yeah.
that we were there to somehow prove that he wasn't taking care of her and that we were going to somehow
Right.
take.
Yeah.
We love the dog. We bring the dog things. We've taken the dog to the vet. You know, like we've done all kinds. But
Yeah.
but we learned that was his connection. Like
Yeah.
once we were really kind with the dog and we started helping the
Right.
dog, like that built the trust with
Yeah.
him. Other people, it's asking them about their mom that they're
Mhm.
concerned about,
Yeah.
or you know, other people are very faith based, and we're
Mhm.
like they just want us to pray with
Yeah.
them.
Mhm.
But
So
you didn't learn any of that until you were able to get
Right.
in relationship. Like I used to have this saying I used all the time in youth ministry that nobody really cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Yes.
kind of like
Yes.
the same
yes,
Yeah.
principle. Like once they trust you, they're willing to.
Yeah.
Someone
And they
want you to like their
do.
dog.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's simple. Right?
Yeah,
You
we
know?
got a call in the middle of the night. This dog got hit by a car, and
Mhm.
Jen was at a vet from like midnight to 4 in the morning. You know, because that's his love.
That's right.
Mhm.
You know, there could have been somebody else that called us,
Mhm.
and we would have been like, "I'm really sorry." That dog we're running out to do because that was our connection
Right.
with this man.
That's good.
So when somebody says, "What does your day to day look like?" It's really hard to answer
Yeah,
because
there's not one.
literally
Yeah.
we come out here. Well, we started coming out here on Mondays. That is our set day to come out. We're usually out here between 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. We could be back at home by 2, and there's other days we're home at 5. It just
Mhm.
depends on who we run into, what they want.
Mhm.
I can say that I'm probably out here 3 to 4 times a week now. Like,
Yeah.
my husband asked me if I
Yeah,
needed
what
an
does he think
apartment.
about all of that? I mean, seriously, I know it's just a practical question, but you'd have to have your families engaged in this.
They don't get much choice. They're voluntold to do a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
because that's family. You get involved in where the things that your heart lies in. My
Right.
children are grown.
Yeah.
I can proudly say they are both philanthropic and do things in their
Yeah.
communities. And when
Yeah.
they're here, they're all in whatever we're doing. We,
Right.
we've served at the soup kitchen on Christmas, and we've
Yeah.
served
That's
dinner
good.
on Christmas Day at Hesed House. They're all in. For me, it's just myself and my husband, and he's pretty supportive.
Yeah.
About. He's got his hands full with his own business,
Right.
but he's supportive about what
But I
we
would
do.
think he was probably nervous sometimes when you're out trouncing into the woods looking for strangers.
Yeah, the safety issue comes up every once in a
Yeah.
while. I think he trusts that I'm doing it in the best way I can. He knows that when we have our own internal rules as far as like we don't go anywhere by
That's
ourselves.
good.
We don't carry cash on us.
Yeah.
We don't wear elaborate jewelry.
Yeah.
Things like there's just certain things we do, and we tell people that come out with us, that choose to come out with us, to kind of be on that same level.
Yeah.
And when we do go into areas that we're unfamiliar with, we
Mhm.
have people in the community who have offered to go with us.
Right.
Keith Poston, who
Yeah,
is the
I know
in
Keith,
Hesed House, he's gone with us a couple times.
Yeah.
We've taken former homeless people with us who have offered to kind of
Yeah.
go with us. For a while, we had a whole homeless community who we probably could have yelled at any of them to come
Yeah.
running.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the relationships we've built.
We've built some with the law enforcement also.
Right.
True.
I had to go out to an area and on my own, and Lynn was out of. Well, you're out of.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think she was out of town, and I wasn't feeling quite. I've been there so many times, but for this one time, I was
Yeah.
not feeling 100%.
Yeah.
So, I contacted the state troopers, and they're like, "Yep, we'll meet you there." And like, okay, they're
So
like,
you got Jackie Casey
anytime.
on your cell phone number where you
Yeah.
get to the
No.
state troopers. Yeah, I get it.
We try. We try. Anybody that's willing to give us their phone
Yes.
number, it's locked in.
Yeah.
We're like, you're on the team now.
That's true.
So we utilize whatever we can, and we're being told by more and more people that soul to soul keeps coming up in
Yeah.
conversations and things like that.
Praise the
So
Lord.
yeah,
That's good.
it's been fantastic, and we shared some success stories with Ryan when we were doing the video, and I always say, if we could get one or two of them a year, that'd be
Amen.
fantastic. Somebody who comes with a genuine heart and says, "I'm ready."
Yeah, like Chloe, like we just
She's one of
mentioned
them.
her.
Yes.
Yeah, your girl Chloe that goes to church here.
Mhm.
And we've had a couple people that
Mm-hmm.
we've watched that our people that from our church that volunteer with Hesed House have kind of
Mhm.
brought into the church,
Mhm.
and we watched them grow into from homelessness to having their having hope first,
yes.
Yes.
then a plan, and then a job, and now homes. They're living in their
Yes.
own homes and,
Yes.
and
It's beautiful.
volunteering here or volunteering at Hesed, watching the complete story unfold, with somebody that was a year and a half ago down on their luck. Now they're watching other people walk out of their hard
Yeah.
place.
It's amazing what relationship can do.
Yeah.
People, you just start talking with them. When we met
Mhm.
Chloe, we were at the soup kitchen
Yeah.
and just sat down and just started talking to her. And there was this steel wall up, and for a moment it cracked, just for a moment, and then right back up again. But
Yeah.
after that, though, she contacted us,
Yeah.
and the relationship just.
Yeah.
And I mean, just you have to be willing to put in the relationship, to
Yeah.
be in real relationship with them, with no judgment, just
Right.
honest truth.
Just
You
love
know,
people.
Yes,
Yeah.
loving them, absolutely loving them in truth, and just being there. Like we had a visiting missionary come, and he was saying you have to be willing to get into the dirty with them.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to get down,
Yeah. You have to
And
sit in the mud. Yep.
sit in the mud
Yeah.
with them.
Mhm.
And you know what? The only thing that takes is time and your willingness to do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't take any money to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
And that doing that shows them that they are valuable, that
Yeah.
they are worth something,
Mhm.
that they are loved. Not only because we go out there and we tell people, it's not us doing it. We are the hands and feet of Christ.
Right.
That is what we're out there to do. We're to minister to people in His name.
Yeah.
And when you get down in the dirty and you get in that relationship with them, that's where lives
Yeah.
change.
The expectation
Mhm.
from them is that we will only stay for so long, and when it gets ugly, we'll disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's what
so-
everybody else did.
Yes.
Right. So
We don't.
the longer we get to spend with somebody, and the more we get to do with them,
Mhm.
the bigger that trust is.
Mhm.
And then they have their own community out there. So it's like she tells a friend, and then he tells a friend, and so on. And so,
That's
that
true.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it is true.
I did
so,
a lot of stuff like
Yeah.
that when I was in youth ministry, where it's not like we have any huge inner cities in Lincolnton, but once I was coaching, even before youth ministry, I was coaching on little league inner city football team, Rotary Rams, for those guys that out there are watching. Yeah. And it was most of them, not all, but most of the kids from those teams were from projects, and it was the first year was them seeing if they were going to like me or trust me, and by the second year they were all in on me because I was all in on them, and then it got where I could go into those communities,
Mhm.
like day or night. They had these bad reps in LinkedIn, about just like the homeless, probably, that these kids are troublemakers. They live
Mhm.
in this neighborhood or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've never in my whole life felt any real danger in those neighborhoods that other people were a little nervous about going to. In fact, I figured out that it wasn't really a reason to be nervous about going there,
Mhm.
but just the relationships that were built. And that was, I know I'm showing my age here, but that was late 80s, early 90s.
Mhm.
Do you know that I still talk to those kids that I coached? They were 10, 11 years old. Now,
That's great.
I mean, one called me last week, kid I coached when he was 10. He's in his, 45, 6 years old. Called me to ask me my advice on something, the other week. Same exact principle, like you guys, we were talking about this again, back to Chloe, but she got baptized here.
Mhm.
And I think she broke the all-time record for the most people with her the night she got baptized.
Yep, we were all here.
Y'all were, which really spoke something to my heart.
Mhm.
You commented on that. That
yeah,
you couldn't believe the
Mhm.
entourage she
yeah.
brought with her.
It's
Yeah.
like the baby dedication thing too.
Mhm.
The number of people that walked up with her that day, and then the baptism. All of it. Just it's like every time I turn around, there's like 30 people supporting her.
Mhm.
This little girl that wouldn't let you in at first, now she's all in. I mean,
She is all in, and
Yeah.
she asks us, what can I do to give back?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
she wants to be a part of
Yeah.
this, to give back,
Yeah.
to help other people
Yeah.
along the way also.
She serves dinners at Hesed House
Mhm.
with us now.
Yeah.
We are doing a
That's
fundraiser
Caleb
in
probably
October.
over
Yes.
to you.
We love Caleb.
Everybody loves
Caden.
Caleb. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Caden.
oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Caden. Yeah.
I thought you were
That
talking.
baby.
Well, there's a
Well,
Caleb.
there's a Caleb
Caleb
too.
and a Caden.
Oh,
Caleb
yeah.
and
Yes.
Caden.
Oh,
He's
yeah, we love
awesome.
Caleb
We love
too.
Caleb as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's always wanting to help. We're going to do a fundraiser in October, and she's
Mhm.
like, well, "I'm there.
Yeah.
What can I do?" She doesn't even know what it is. She's like, "I'm there."
Yeah.
And we're starting to get more of that.
Mhm.
If we could, and we always joke, like, if we could have one Chloe a year, that'd
Yeah.
be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Like just
We're also proud of her.
yes, our hearts just are just so full. And when we watched it firsthand and really tried to hold her hand through everything. But it takes a willingness. It isn't
Yeah.
all us.
Yeah.
No.
That's right.
It's God sticking his hands on every little
Mhm.
piece and part of it
Mhm.
and keeping her
Yeah.
heart open. And
Mhm.
of course, Caden was a very big, part of
Yeah.
her.
Change
Yeah.
her success.
Her
bringing
motivation.
Yeah,
motivation. There you
motivator,
go.
yeah.
It really was her motivation at first.
Yeah.
But I think seeing all the doors that opened for her when she opened her heart and she became part of the church and opened herself to faith.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really was the changing
Mhm.
point. And she just
Yeah.
she just wrote a very sweet testimonial for us. And she refers to when she met us, she saw joy and she saw peace, and she was like, I want that.
Mhm.
And that came from our faith.
Yeah.
We walk out here just believing that we're going to be fine and that God is guiding us and the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit's behind us. And
Yeah.
she saw that, felt that. And we've had our days, we've had our moments, and there's been a lot of teaching moments. Just it's like I tease her. I'm like, you could be my child. I have a daughter her age,
Right. Yeah.
and she's like, really? I'm like, right. So when I sound like I'm talking to you like a mom, I probably am. The mom voice comes out. But she's been fantastic to mentor. But she was open to it. Her heart was ready.
Yes.
She was open,
Yeah.
and we hope for that with everybody that we
should have
work
brought
with.
her with us today.
Oh my
here.
gosh. Maybe at one point we
At one
can
point.
We might
because
need
she's
to do
just
that with her.
Yeah.
'cause
yeah, she would be
she would be
wonderful
great
to talk
sit
to.
down
Yeah,
with her.
she
She
would.
would do it now. You know,
Yes.
when I first met her, like you guys, she was very shy.
Mhm.
Like when she talked to me, she was like, and now it's like, it's our Sunday. It's like, hey girl, what's up?
Yeah.
Hey, Pastor Michael. It's like we're just buddies now. So I wanted to get this out there while I remember because I'm always in the middle of these interviews thinking of questions, and I think I'm going to forget them. So why do y'all call this soul to soul? I mean, I get it, but why? How'd you come to that name?
We tossed a bunch of stuff around,
Yeah.
and I don't even remember exactly how it came up. I think it just came down to, we are trying to get to the soul of
Mhm.
everyone, really get to
Yeah.
that base because everybody's got so much baggage.
Yeah.
And, Chloe is part of the foster system. We have other people that went through horrible divorces. We had other
Yeah.
people with drug issues.
Yeah.
Getting deep into that soul and kind of starting at the bottom and
Yeah.
working up.
Yeah.
And we try to talk to people on a really, really genuine, soul-filled level.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we're kind of like we're bearing our souls.
Mhm.
We're not hiding anything.
Right.
We talk to them and we're like, we're not any better than you
Yeah.
are. We're not
Mhm.
saying that what we do is perfect.
Mhm.
We're not saying that we have all the answers.
Right.
We come down to that where we
Yeah.
meet them where they're at. And so
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where that came from
Yeah.
in my mind was we're really
Mhm.
working soul to soul, us to
Mhm.
you,
Yeah.
you to us.
Yeah. One-on-one,
Yeah.
one at a
Yeah.
time. Let everybody reach one kind of thing. And
Mhm.
also, what I've gotten out of this is that initially it wasn't about a bunch of you investing tons of money. It was just invest in you.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
Christians out there or people in general that want to help with things like this that are intimidated by it. You guys are a good picture of that. Where you just decided to show up one day for some people
Mhm.
and kept coming
Mhm.
back, and it wasn't complicated, was it?
It really wasn't. And we have somebody who tells us that regularly. I just
Yeah.
love her.
Mhm.
She still lives under a bridge or
Mhm.
out in a tent. And she tells us regularly, she's like, people out here so appreciate you because you
Mhm.
are genuine,
Yeah.
because there's no judgment.
Yeah.
We don't feel like zoo animals when you
Yeah.
come out here,
Yeah.
watching us. Like you're genuinely just there. And
Mhm.
she'll call us. She's the mama bear out there. She knows everybody's
You
stuff.
gotta
and-
have one of those.
yeah, she's like, so and so needs this and so needs that.
Yeah.
We're like, what do you need? She never wants anything.
Right.
She's doing her own thing. But
Mhm.
and that is just so heart filling when she tells us how great we are. I'm like, no, like we're really out here for
No.
you, and you're doing the work, and you're so wonderful. And we know we work hard, but like it's minimal. It really
Yeah.
is. It is. It's just
Well, that's
showing
what-
up.
Yeah.
Ministry is supposed to look like, really, because that's what you're doing. It's ground level.
Mhm.
Most people, outside the people that watch videos like this or people that you're helping, will never know you're doing it. But the Father knows
Mhm.
that you're doing it, and He cares
Mhm.
every bit as much about that person under the bridge as He does the people
Yes.
living in the, the 3-story house,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
He loves them,
Yes.
and you loving them like He loves them, I believe, certainly pleases His heart, and so that's the point, isn't it? I mean,
That's our
like,
hope.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to share with people, that they are loved, they are cared
Mhm.
about.
Yeah.
I think I shared this in our video, and we say this often. One of the reasons this fell on my heart is I read something one time that the most common word that homeless people use to describe themselves is invisible.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And they shrink themselves too. And,
Yeah.
they're already kind of being dismissed within society.
Mhm.
We've all done it. We've walked past somebody, like they're begging or they're calling to you, and
Right.
like you don't have anything, so you're uncomfortable or
Yeah.
whatever. We see it happen. So they just, and then they're not treated well, so they kind of make themselves even smaller.
Right.
And so they just feel like they no longer count in the
Right.
world. So we want them to know that regardless of their circumstances, whether they even choose to change it or not, they're
Right.
still loved. They're
Yes.
still cared
Very
about. They're
much.
still seen by
That's
God.
Right.
And then they're seen by humans like us, where we care about them.
Yeah.
We do
Mhm.
our best to care about them at the level that they'll allow us to.
Right. Which is important too,
Mhm.
even, like, because if you try to push through that, you'll repel them instead
yeah.
of
Yeah.
draw them
They'll shut us down.
Mhm.
to your love, and then ultimately his love, so that they know that your love is birthed in his love for you,
Mhm.
is a beautiful thing. So, and I know you guys did, because Ryan told me that we keep referencing Ryan. Most people watch. Ryan's the guy that does all of this stuff here. Like does our podcast and did a video for your ministry,
Yes.
basically. And so I know he did that. Is there a way? Maybe you want to tell him, number one, how to link to that, because I'm sure they'll get more information.
Well, we don't have it yet. It's not done.
Yeah.
Social, but we
Yeah.
are. Well, we will.
How do they find you if they want to help
okay.
you?
In general,
Yeah,
I
that's
thought you
what-
meant that
yeah.
particular video. It's not quite
Well,
ready yet.
eventually that one will be up there.
Yeah.
But
It will
just
be.
for now, I mean, you guys, sure, you could use some help.
Oh, my.
Financial help.
Absolutely.
volunteers,
People help.
whatever. People help.
We do have a Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah.
Soul to Soul Outreach. We also have a newly built website, which is soultosouloutreach.org. It has, and on that website there is actually I think on Facebook too, there's a place to donate.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a QR code, and there's also
A link.
a link
to Stripe.
to Stripe. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people can certainly.
Well, Ryan
donate.
will link all of those on this video. I promise you, he knows how to
Okay.
do that stuff. Where we
Thank
link.
you.
we
Thank
link
you.
it. Thank you, guy behind the camera.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah.
wizard.
Yeah, he is a wizard, but we'll get linked to that, because what we want to do is make sure that churches like ours can always do more, and one of my right hand guys here is on the board at Headset House. We try to even encourage our staff people to get involved in something outside of the building,
Mhm.
and I'm on Christian Ministry Board, which
Okay.
a while ago when you said that they were looking for places to go. I know we had that conversation. I just started this. I've only been to one meeting, but that they have that place over their lounge kind of thing where some of those
Yeah,
people
they've
can show
decided
up.
to open from 1 to 4
Yeah.
after the soup kitchen does their
Yeah.
meal.
Right, so they'll have somewhere
And
to be.
we've heard that it's being utilized.
It is
It's being
It is.
heavily utilized by Hesed House residents in
Mhm.
particular.
right.
And I think part of that is because they get to hear about it more,
right.
whereas other
Mhm.
people, it's scattered, they just come in for a meal
That's
and,
true.
whereas Keith is kind of pushing it at the house, it's
Right.
posted at the house, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
Mhm.
we're hoping that continues to expand, especially as the hotter weather
Yeah.
comes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because most of the people that need to know about that are only going to hear about that from people out on the street, because they're not watching videos like this.
Right.
They're not getting.
We tell everybody.
Yeah, you tell everybody that. So,
We do.
Yeah, I know that
Yeah.
those ladies over there that do,
Yeah.
and not just ladies, but some guys too. But those do a lot of that stuff with Christian ministry.
Mhm.
Really enjoy those people coming in and love on them and
Mhm.
do some of that same thing at the soup kitchen as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, so any specific, as we kind of wind it down, any specific things that you just look at that camera and say, look, here's what we need now.
Whew.
Bring your list.
I should have. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you that we are having our first fundraiser in October 7th. We are doing a 5K fun run, color run, actually, at the Sally's Y in Denver.
What does that mean?
We're going to throw stuff at you and make you colorful
Oh,
as
really?
you run. Yes, it's quite fun.
Okay. All right. I was wondering.
You can run, walk, skip,
You run, walk,
hop,
skip,
whatever you
yeah,
want to do.
whatever you want to do. Just get to the end. So we are doing that, and that's exciting. And we are looking for sponsors for that.
Yeah.
We're looking for corporate sponsors, business sponsors. It's $200 to sponsor. Names on T-shirts, signage at the event, up on the website on the registration.
Well, I'll volunteer
page.
us. We'll sponsor you.
Yay.
Our church,
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Covenant
So,
Church.
Yeah.
So we are looking for donors and sponsors for that event.
Yeah.
And runners, walkers,
runners,
hoppers.
walkers that want to do it. It's $35 per walker.
Mhm.
12 and under is free.
Mhm.
And as far as needs, we will be doing a change of season drive soon. We did one for the fall. We will be doing one for the summer where we put out big boxes in local community stores and we
Mhm.
collect things for this season. It'll be like sunscreen,
Bug
tarps, For winter, it was like hats, gloves, that
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Blankets,
so
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we put together things that are needed, and that allows us to keep them on us at all times instead of running to Goodwill and all these different
Yeah.
places. We have
Mhm.
carloads of things
I'm
that.
sure you
people
have
can
like a
just-
building's full of something.
Yeah, so it's just nice to have shampoo and toothpaste
Right.
and things that
Mhm.
we can just kind of hand out as we see people. So we are always in need of things like that. And we actually are in need of somebody who can handle like a bookkeeping position.
Mhm.
So we do need somebody who can handle accounting. We just need somebody to kind of babysit our books for us.
Right.
make
Well, it's
sure-
smart too, though. Like you having somebody to do all of that stuff keeps you guys in the right place, which I think is a lot of
Mhm.
wisdom,
Mhm.
on y'all's part. So
Yeah, it's just the two of us, so we can't be out here physically all the time and
Yeah.
doing all of the administrative stuff. So
right.
We're the ones that are out here, but
Yeah.
we do
They
have
do have
an
a
amazing
board,
board.
yeah.
we
Yes.
do
Have a
have we do
board.
have a fantastic board.
Right.
But we still need some helping hands.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We got you. So, well, we'll be praying for you. Number one,
Thank you.
getting this out here with a lot of the people that will watch this will be our people, and some of the most giving people I've ever met in my life go here to church. So they find out about you. They'll find you, and so
That's
which is a
fantastic.
blessing. But thank you for number one. I think from the Father's heart, I want to thank you for what you guys are doing. For noticing people that sometimes feel unnoticed, and affirming people that need affirmation, and loving on people that feel unloved is maybe some of the greatest gifts that we ever give as Christians, to do that. Now, so from my perspective, as somebody in the community that's kind of been involved with the homeless thing and a lot of other ministries as well, I want to thank you for what you're doing. We appreciate you guys so much, and anything we can do to help you in the future, just keep us in the loop, and we'll
Yes.
we'll do what we can do.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's been great being here. This has been a wonderful connection.
Yeah.
The video that's going to come to fruition, and just getting connected here
Yeah.
and meeting you. And we hear about the generosity and the beauty of this church all the
Oh, God,
time.
they're beautiful people.
Yeah, I think if we were closer, we'd be able to spend a little bit more time here. But
That's all right.
it's
You got a great church down there.
we
appreciate it.
do, we do.
We
Thank
do.
you. We love our church at Denver, and they've been very supportive as well.
Jackie Casey.
Jackie goes
Jackie
here.
is our
Yeah.
is our president.
Yeah.
She is
Yeah,
our
she
president.
is our
yeah.
president.
She's one of my favorite humans. Her kids were in my youth group, especially her son Chris, and I have just a special friendship.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I tell this, and I probably need to throw that out on this so he'll know I mentioned him. That he's the only kid. Poor Jackie had to listen to this. The only kid I ever threw out of youth ministry for seasons.
boy.
I would suspend him for 2 weeks at a time when he was driving me absolutely crazy. But to this day, he's a kid that I love like he is my own child, and so his mother is a saint, and I'm so
She
excited
is.
that she's on your board. So
She's fantastic. We
She
were
is.
super excited for her
Beautiful
to
lady.
accept that
Yeah.
position. She's a beautiful, beautiful
Mhm.
soul, and she's got the biggest heart.
she's
and-
been given in this community behind the scenes, and I bet maybe a lot of people don't know it except for the people that needed her help, but she's one of those people that's been pouring herself into this community for literally 20 years, and
Mhm.
not enough
Mhm.
people know about her. And so
She's not in it for that though.
Yeah.
She's
She does.
she's so.
she'll be mad that we mentioned her name.
Yeah, you should probably. It was all we could do to get her to let us do a little write up on her. We were trying to feature all the board
Yeah.
members, and we had to like twist her arm to get her.
She's an angel. So.
She really is. She's
She
an
is.
angel
to
on earth.
me,
We
that's
love her.
personally, like
Yeah.
when you mention people like Jackie, it lets me know where you guys stand.
Mhm.
This lady that has literally been pouring herself in the community for
Mhm.
years, and our church as
Mhm.
well. I mean, she poured herself into us
Yeah.
as well.
I love
So-
her. She keeps us on track.
She does.
She really does. Like even if we start stepping off track and we let our egos get in there, or we let our like some of our personal thought, like
Yeah.
she's
We're
like
human.
reel it in. We
I
are
don't
here,
think she has
like
an ego, so she,
No, she pulls us all back together and reminds us
Yeah.
exactly whose hands we're following.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly. She's like, it's not you, it's God. I'm
That's right, right. Oh, yeah.
That's right.
That's true. Thank you. Thank you, Mom. I just
Yes,
say thank you, Mom.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys again for coming by, and we'll help you any way we can, and we just speak
Thank
blessing
you.
over you both in the name of Jesus, and can't wait to see what's next for your ministry.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks
All
for
right.
having
Hey,
us.
thank you guys for tuning in. Share this. Let other people know about it because we need to get the word out that Soul to Soul needs our help. And I believe they're a ministry that represents the heart of the Father. And so thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.